Welcome everybody to the 2017 Curling the Gathering Final. My name's Joe Calabrese. We've got Team Hosajan versus Team Robinson in the finals. This is a distinctly different bonspiel than you may be used to. It's a little like curling, but it's got a twist, and the twist is there's bidding on specific cards that can either help your chance of winning or hurt your opponent's chance of winning. Both these teams made the A event final and had a certain amount of funny money to bid on these power-up cards. And as things turned out, Team Hosajan, they wound up getting them all. So they have every card except for one in play, which is given to a team randomly, and so Team Robinson has that card. We don't know what that card is, but we'll go over with you just in a minute what all the cards are and what their uses are for. It appears this Team Robinson has won the hammer. The only thing they've won so far today is the hammer, as the team from Charlotte has all the power-up cards and is playing the Red Rocks. I'll be back in just a second with the descriptions. So Team Hosajan from Charlotte has all of the power-up cards in this game. I'll describe some of them for you. The first is called the Golden Hammer, and that's when you actually have a chance to play an extra stone, an extra hammer shot, a 9th stone in an end. Pretty powerful card. And that's the card that had the most value in this particular game, as it was bid for over $200 funny money dollars. The next card is called Protect This House, and that gives a team the ability to immediately place a guard, giving protection to a stone in the house. And we'll talk about that in a little bit if it comes up. Then there's the Noonan. The Noonan is an interesting one. It's Caddyshack fame. Noonan, the caddy, playing in the caddy tournament, gets heckled by his competitors while he's shooting his final putt. And that's sort of what happens here when somebody lines up to throw their stone. They'll get heckled. The fourth card in this game is called Abracadabra. And you can remove an opponent's stone that currently sits in the free guard zone, making it disappear. And then the team that possesses the card gets to play their stone as if it was just a normal shot. Then we've got something called Build That Wall. And Build That Wall allows the opposing team to put themselves between the shooter and the skip, obscuring the view of the shooter from the skip in the house. And finally, the Tick. The Tick allows a team to move an opponent's stone that's currently in the free guard zone and push it to the 4-foot line, push it out of the 4-foot, lines. Although it must remain in the free guard zone. And then the team gets to throw their shot. So it's a way to remove a guard out of play, or maybe put a second guard up for you if you need it with hammer. So these teams are sort of just trading stones here in the first end. Alex Visnich up. Team from Pittsburgh playing in Arena Nationals in a couple of weeks. Here locally. Not a bad pickup. Women's national 4th stone thrower. And we have a miss. Missed by the Pittsburgh team. Now Hosajan has a chance to guard a stone here. Execution for the Hosajan rink important, but maybe a little bit more so for Robinson, as they're going to need to have some rocks in good positions to counteract all these power-up cards. for Charlotte. Been a real successful weekend, Bonspiel. It's a fundraiser for the Urban League of Rochester. We had some donations from meals from Emil's and Domino's. We had the Petite Poutine truck last night for dinner. A very successful event. 14 teams, 6 from out of town, 8 locally.
She hit his, bro.
Going to raise close to $4,000 for the Urban League of Rochester. So still early in the end here. First end. This is an 8-end game. There will probably be some broom stacking. These two teams have been the class of the field so far this week. Why they're in the A-event final for sure. I think Hosien had the only loss of the two teams, but that was after they had clinched the 1 seed in their pool. Charlotte here. I believe it's makes a hit and roll out. Chance now for Nick Biznich. Get around this or appeal. Looks like they're going to keeping it clean early here in the fun spiel. Looking around the rinks, it looks like over on sheet A, the totally free guard zone has been. Anything over the near hog line is in. And so there's a couple rocks, maybe a third into the free guard zone that people have to avoid. It should be a lot of fun over there too. So totally open sheet here on sheet C, here from Rochester. Just looking to play a center guard right now. Nicely swept. Should touch the center line. That's pretty good. I'm going to peel again. I don't think these teams got the message. We want some rocks in play. I'm going to have to write them a little note on the dry erase board. I've written my note. It's 3 simple words. Fans like guards. Getting scoffed at by the Pittsburgh rink. I think maybe one of the reasons why the Pittsburgh rink might be playing this strategy is to counteract any cards that Charlotte might have. A lot of the cards have to do with rocks that are in play, so if you don't have any rocks in play, you can't use the card. This rock drifts into the house, to the back 12. Looks like Mark's going to try to peel this out. Going to blank this in, keep that hammer going into the second. First to skip stones here for Robinson. So Robinson here in the hack, ready to go. Looking to peel, or nose it, I guess, make Hosian stick a shot. Just peels it right out. Just needing to make contact there. So Hosian's gonna gonna draw to the forefoot. Ice is slippery. So, Hosian away here, trying to get something into the forefoot. So rock winds up in the top 8 foot. Well, produce probably the maximum distance that Robinson would have to peel this and blank the end. So real nice shot there. Looking over on sheet B, Scott Wagner has a handful of cards. Just thinking about which one they want to use over there. They're playing Chris Lindstrom in the B event final. You can see that game also on TESN.US. Over on the sheet B. Yep. So that's the end of the first end. Blank end here in the first. And Robinson will keep the hammer into the second.
So that's skip her. No, that's good though. You gotta have
something. So this rock a little bit deep. And so we'll see if it forces Robinson to play a little bit more aggressively. Yep, they're going to play the corner guard here. So, oh, the double shot power was called in the game on sheet B. Lindstrom had to throw 2 at once. And then Wagner will have a chance to throw his consecutively. So there you go. Corner guard goes up. We'll see what they do. They're going to draw to the top 4 foot here. So looking here to put in the top 4 foot. Right, ice has been very quick this week. On this sheet, get a good bit of curl here on the intern side. This is going to wind up pretty close to what they were hoping for. Just touching the button. Uh-oh, we're playing a card. Here we go. The first card is going to be played. Let's see what they decide to do. It's going to be protect this house. They're going to play a guard immediately. And that is a 9th rock it's placed. So they took the rock that they threw through, they put it back out in play as a perfect guard, protecting their stone in the house. So a brilliant move there with the rock touching the button. They're going to play a perfect guard, and they do. So here we go. Now Rebecca Andrews got to decide what she wants to do. First of 7 uphill battles here for Robinson. The first card played against him. And they asked me, is that a free guard zone rock? Of course it is. The 4th rock of the stone has not been thrown yet. So Rebecca cannot remove this rock until after this stone is played. So it looks like she's trying to play some sort of tick or a promote into the house so they can touch it up later. Looks like they're trying to play the tick, but they might have waited a bit too long. This one's going to pop. The question is, it's going to go through? It is. So now they get to put that perfect rock back in that perfect position. So now with Hosian sitting 1 in a really good spot with a perfect guard. I'm trying to come around the corner. Interesting call. He could have consolidated, maybe put another one around that center guard, maybe top 12 foot. This is going to be around the corner instead. Really want this to touch if they can, but it's going to come up just a bit short. So now Robinson's going to try to play the run back. So here we go, Pittsburgh trying to play some sort of run double, run back double. Nope, just makes the single peel. So now Hosian, no longer with that perfect guard, going to have to place one of his own on his own. Uh-oh, I see what's happening on sheet B. Chris Lindstrom is going to be forcing the Wagner rink to play with club brooms. Club brooms are heavier and less effective than the ones you own yourself, so it should be interesting. He's picking out the rattiest ones he can find. I heard somebody try to pull out the junior brooms for this. That would make it much more difficult as they're shorter. So Hosian here, Charlotte looking to play a guard.
Yeah, I know she seems like she.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, Hep Rock, a little deep chance here for the double for Pittsburgh. And only gets one of them out. Moves that off the button. Play another guard, says Jeremy. So it looks like maybe Robinson has withstood the first of the 7 cards that'll be played against him. We'll see how this end turns out. The perfect card is now gone, and Hosian's got to keep replacing it. This is not going to be perfect. It's going to be on the center line, but shot stone should be almost completely open. End to end. I'm going to try to play the hit and roll here, Robinson. Just rocks scattered all over the place on sheet A. Free guard zone, totally free guard zone. Anything over the first hog line is in play. It's a minefield of rocks you got to watch as a sweeper. Hit and roll there for Robinson. Rolls it to the outside. Wide open here for Charlotte. Totally free guard zone also in play over on sheet D. As that game is between Andy Eaton and Chris Benway. Over on A, it's Dorothy Roach and Joe Amato doing battle. Those are the C and D events. Oh, and a whiff for Charlotte. Robinson now with the hammer and a rock in the 8-foot. We'll see if Jeremy has anything up his sleeve to play after this shot. Mentioned in the opening, these teams have cards to help or hinder an opponent, or help their opponent, or help themselves or hinder their opponent. Let me put it that way. Oh, this one looks deep. It's going right on through. So exchange of misses there. Again, the cards either help your chance to win or hurt your opponent's chance of winning. They bid on these cards beforehand with funny money, and as Hosian had a little bit extra money to start with, they wound up winning all of the cards available for this draw on their sheet. However, Robinson has one card that's randomly chosen. So Robinson has one card, and Hosian now has 6 cards remaining as he used one earlier this end. So Jeremy Hosian looking for the hit. He's going to make it, but I think he's rolling out. Yep, absolutely. Rolling right out of there. So Robinson going to draw. Looks like he's going to try to bite the 8-foot. Touch the center line. Would be a pretty good shot. Would force Jeremy to make some sort of choice. As you can see, Jeremy and Pat talking about a possible card to play. They've got a handful of them to choose from. There's a lot of strategy involved in this particular bonspiel. You had to decide how much you wanted to bid on each draw, knowing that you only had a fixed amount for the whole weekend. And so There was some interesting bidding and some interesting wins. Wins for $1. There were actually wins for nothing in this draw. If you turned in your bid sheet before your opponent and you bid the same amount, you got the card. So some cards didn't go for anything, and the first team that got it in won the card. That didn't happen in this game. This game, Hosian and Robinson were interested in the same cards, just Hosian had more money. And then, in true Price is Right fashion, he won 4 cards with a bid of $1 each. And this rock drifting to the back 12, thinking about, yep, sitting in the back 12. Little okey doke there for Rebecca Andrew. Started sweeping, then got right off of it and died.
What's that?
It was really nice.
Was it packed?
It was, yeah. Right there.
So Jeremy now with his last shot here in the second end.
My wife Cherie. Krista. We did.
No, right now.
Bring them out on the ice for the finals.
Oh, now we close them out?
You kidding me? You know what time that'll be?
Makes the hit just barely. And so now Robinson can actually blank the second. I'm sure he will. So there you go. Boy, this game is a defensive battle. My latest message has gone up on the window. Another 3-word message. Chicks dig offense. I'll see if they notice. I'm going to get a message back from Rebecca now.
It looks good, yeah.
So 2 blank ends here in the championship final, Curling the Gathering. Rebecca's message is substantially longer than mine.
Before you arrived, and then they saw you all pretty.
Oh, you talking about jewelry? Oh.
It says something about we can't use the golden hammer and something not sure. I don't know. There's a lot of words there. The pen looks like it's half dry. It says something about, I don't know. Meanwhile, Rebecca peels out a rock. That first rock drifted in the house. Rebecca was able to remove it. Another one's going in the house.
Help me.
trying to get into their heads. It looks like they're going to try to throw the corner guard here. All right, this is what I like to see. That rock went through. Rebecca going to throw the corner guard. We'll see what happens. Uh-oh, they're pulling out cards here again. Who knows what could happen? Nothing. No, they're putting it back in their pocket. Just looking to see what they have left. I'll tell you what they have left. They have the golden hammer left. That's that extra rock and they can use in an end if they need it. The Noonan where they can heckle a player. I don't think that's going to help anybody right now. The abracadabra we can make a rock disappear, but they've been doing that plenty good on their own. They can build a wall, but with no rocks in plays, that doesn't make much sense. And they can play the tick. Something in the forefoot, they can move off the forefoot. That might have been something they could think about if Robinson wasn't throwing guards that were supposed to be corner guards. So right now, they've nullified the use of most of these cards. And I see Robinson's strategy. Not sure why Hosian's kind of sticking with this. With all the cards, it sort of makes sense for them to somehow even let Robinson score so that they could get the hammer and use some of these cards. Golden hammer's a big deal. If you don't have hammer, though, you can't use it. I actually think it would have been okay to let them score. Now they're sort of hitting back and forth. We'll see what happens. This is looks like it's curling pretty quick here. Some good sweeping going on. Looks like they're going to make the hit. Nicely done. Even rolling onto the house there. Just trading stones here. This trading hits, peels it out. Okay, so Robinson not throwing the guard anymore, trying to put it in the house on the 12-foot. Looks like it's going to wind up just short. Well, maybe it's touching. It's close. We're looking it over. And Hosian's going to hit. Honestly, I think even if he gave up 2, it'd be okay. So going to try to put it in the same area. 12 foot on the right side. Swept this one pretty much coast to coast. And drag it into the 8 foot. So this looks like it's a miss. And that intern hit overcurls a bit. Robinson now with a chance to split the house here with the hammer. We were really happy to host this event here at the Rochester Curling Club. Nice to see some out-of-town teams. We had teams travel from as far as Charlotte, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and other clubs in New York State. Hoping to make this a springtime tradition, so to speak. Teams seem to have a lot of fun. There we go. We've split the house. Robinson trying to take it deep to not create a double. And there they go. Pretty good spot there. Jose will decide what he wants to do here. So going to play the hit. The chance you make the double here if you slash it over the top. But and they're lining that up.
You still good? Oh yeah.
So lining up the hit here, playing the out turn after the in turn overcurled a bit on him. This might be a little straight. We'll see what happens. So there's Jeremy and the hack ready to go. This is his final stone at the end. Still hammer to come for Robinson. Haven't really touched this one. A bit straight. Now they sweep it. Now they sweep it. Oh, just under. Waited a bit too long to sweep that one. And now Robinson can draw for two. My guess is that they're talking about whether they should blank this end. So they're looking through their cards now, Hosean, to see if he can do anything about this. You can make a card disappear, rock disappear with Abracadabra. He does have that card, but it needs to be in the free guard zone. This won't be in the free guard zone, so he can't really use it. So unless he has something of a surprise, he does not. They're going to just take the 2, so there you go. So we'll see. Robinson picks up 2 here in the 3rd, and they'll head to the 4th end up 2-0. So, we'll see how they decide to approach it now with a 2-point lead. I think I'd try to figure out a way to make Hosean use a card now that I have the lead. And they do know, because this is the final, what the other team has, so you can strategize a little bit for this. Maybe if you put up a lot of rocks, they might want to use the wall to try to obscure the view when you're throwing. Or you put something up that's in the 4-foot that could play the tick and make them split, but they haven't decided to use anything yet. And I think if you're Robinson, you got to put something in the free guard zone. They've got 2 rocks that affect that, the tick and the Abracadabra, so the more you can put on that center line, probably the better. Get them used up while you have the lead. This one drifting a bit. Looks like it's going to wind up in the house. Yep. So Robinson lining up the hit here for Rebecca. Trying to make it curl now. Got a piece of it. It's going to stick around? Not this time. I think this is the right call. Throw this around the guard. If Robinson decides he wants to use, or I'm sorry, Robinson doesn't have the cards to use it, so you put this around here, a little pressure on. You can always remove that card later if you're hosing with a card, so if you can get one in, that's pretty good. Just snuck it around. Nicely done. I think you play the run back here, yeah. So looking for the straight run back here. Would love to keep the shooter if he could. Over the top. This team from Charlotte flew up for this event. Whoa. Little shaky delivery there. The Rochester Airport is literally a stone's throw away, less than a mile away from the club. So they can hop on a flight right after this, head back home. And Robinson not going to take any chances here, just going to hit this rock. Makes the hit, sticks around in the 12-foot. Going to play a freeze now. Hosian. See if we can get a little bit better slide this time. Much better. It seems like a lot. Possibly to come around this stone. I think they will. Not much curl there, though. Didn't miss by that much, and probably only at most a quarter buried. Still trying to decipher Rebecca Andrews' message to me. It says something about funny money, and I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Oh, this is a nice little hack weight hitter right there. Robinson sits 2 now. Jeremy jumps in on the sweeping, trying to get this into a freeze position. Needs to curl quite a bit. Weight's pretty close, but going to wind up just a bit short. Wide open. Robinson can now hit and sit 3. Playing something. I'm not sure. This must be the random card because I don't really see anything you can do with this other than this is one I believe you can take a brush like a badass, I'm guessing. Yep, that's what it is. Brush like a badass, and what it allows you to do is take a stone that you've thrown and move it within a broom's length to any position that you like, and so they've elected to make it a perfect freeze. You see, so now 2 down out of 7. Hosian still has 5 cards remaining. So there was their random card. Robinson still has their random card. We don't know what it is. Oh, and the anchor being played over on sheet B. That's Chris Lindstrom having to throw with a backpack on his back weighs 16 pounds. It's more difficult than you might think. And look at that. Beautifully done by Visnich. And take that. The second card eliminated by Robinson. Nicely done. Uphill battle here for Robinson with the 2-point lead. Like, we brushed that one like a badass too, I think, is what Mark is saying. That one was perfect. Not much better you can do with that. It's still sitting behind the tee, and Charlotte can come down and sit on top of that. This is not curling as much as I think they need it to. Gets a bounce. And Robinson now can hit that stone, sit 1-2. Lindstrom on sheet B, sliding back down the ice with the backpack on. Looked like he's going to school. So Robinson scoots down the ice. Looks like he's going to play an in-turn takeout on shot stone. Try to sit 1-2. Uh-oh. They're building the wall. Oh, my. They're building the wall. And so this is another card that Ocean has that they've gotten together. They've decided we're going to obscure the view of this shot. So Robinson can throw, and Hosian has to move before the rock hits them. Some teams have resorted to putting the broom above the heads of the players on the wall. Becca, I think, is trying to put it through their legs. And here we go, Mark. His shot's away. They just have to move. They're saying sweep, 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 sweep. They got to get out of the way before the rock gets to them. They get out of the way. Here we go. Oh! And they hit. And so the card was relatively effective there. They did not get sit 1-2. Everybody's had a real good attitude about these cards. And everybody's had them played on them, and everybody's had them played for them. So Charlotte now sits second stone. Robinson's 1, 3, and 4. And let's see what Jeremy decides to do with the first of his two here in the fourth. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see these teams broom stacking after the fourth end. And then after the fifth, and maybe after the sixth as well. So just a few more stones here in the fourth, and then I'm sure we'll take a quick break. looking to play the freeze. Looks like it's going to bounce off just a little bit. Oh. And while they sit 1-2, these Rocks are in a real good spot for a heavyweight removal.
Not a great day.
So, last stones here for Pittsburgh in the fourth. Charlotte has the hammer. Good chance to hit here and maybe remove both rocks, sit 3. I don't think they'll be able to hit both and keep the shooter. So they're trying to sweep it towards those stones. It's a little wide. Definitely wide. Trying to get a piece. They get a piece. They get things spinning. They remove 1, but not the second. Chance here for 2 for Charlotte. Lightweight hit here. And they could remove that Pittsburgh stone and get their 2 right back here in the fourth. This spot's been pretty straight, so we'll see how Jeremy handles it. I'd say mission accomplished here for Robinson. They've withstood 3 of the 7 cards that are going to be played against them. And at the moment, they're up 2. We'll see if Charlotte can close the gap here. This has got to curl a little bit. Here we go. Now they're sweeping it. And it's curling now. It's curling now. It's close. Close. Looks like it's going to be 1, just 1 for Charlotte, and Charlotte closes the gap to 2-1. After the fourth end, let's see if they start stacking or not. Haven't seen any stacking yet. We'll see. No stacking. Wow. All right, we're going to continue here. I'm gonna turn the mic over to my buddy Greg, I think, here for a minute while I take a quick break.
All right, good afternoon. This is actually my first time behind the wheel here at the helm of the TESN the microphone. Charlotte, a little bit of a disappointing end there in the fourth, being held to 1, even though a number of cards were played against the Pittsburgh team. Karen looks like she has a very gentle draw to the center guard. Might be a little bit light. They're definitely jumping on it to get it past the hog line. A little bit off the center, but it's in play. As being one of the few teams that have actually played both of these teams on the ice right now during this Bonspiel, I can definitely attest to the amount of talent that we are facing out here today. Rebecca looking like she's trying to tuck behind the guard, not even in the house, not even trying to put the guard of her own. Such a very nice spot, tucked behind the center or behind the guard, just touching the forfeit. We have a sit call, which any newer curler knows is one of the most difficult shots in curling to make. If you're a new curler or anything like myself, you just have any real difficulty just getting it to stop anywhere near you where you want it to, not to mention one specific location. Looks like this one was pushed out a little bit wide. It has slid past the stone in the house and out the back. the impression that Pittsburgh really needs to have a big end here to maintain control of this match. With a number of cards yet to be played against them, including the Golden Hammer, which in my opinion is the strongest card in the deck. Pittsburgh cannot afford to be only up by a small amount of points with the few ends they have to play. Looks like the exact same shot was called for Rebecca. Once again, having played against the Pittsburgh team, one thing I can tell you is it's okay throwing your stones light because they have some of the best sweepers I've ever seen in the club level. In fact, I checked the ice after the match we played against them, and there were actually trenches in the ice due to the sweeping abilities of the Pittsburgh front end. Trying to sit on the stone that's just inside the 8 foot. So it does appear to be a little bit light and once again a little bit too wide, so it might not have the desired outcome they're looking for. That does appear to be the case. It is sitting just on top of the 12-foot touching the house, but not nestled up nice and tight like they had hoped for. Gives Pittsburgh the opportunity to hit and roll. At some point, I keep waiting for the Charlotte team to start using some of the cards that they have. Surprise, the Abracadabra card was one of the cards that was only bid $1 on for the win. And I think personally that could really change the outcome of an end. Just like every card in this game, the timing of how you play the card is very important. You want to make sure that you're maximizing the number of points that you can take on an end by using the card or minimize any sort of damage that they might have. We're a little bit wide of a takeout here. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh has cleared out one of their own stones, put the second one towards the edge of the house, and left the red stone as now the current shot rock. Certainly not the outcome that they were looking for with that shot. I did have the opportunity to spend some time hanging out with both of those two teams yesterday, last evening, and I will say I'm very surprised with the lack of amount of alcohol that is currently sitting on the shelves on this rink. In fact, I'm going to say I'm not so much surprised, I'm actually disappointed. These two teams can certainly enjoy themselves, and it appears as though they're taking this match rather seriously.
Just on one side. The other side is.
Just taking a quick look around the arena, it looks like every match appears to be relatively close. The lopsided current score appears to be on sheet D, which they were just completed the fourth end. I wasn't able to see how many points that were scored there, but even that match itself is a 2-point game after 3 ends. It appears as though every other match is either tied or since it's a 1-point game right now. We have some of our younger fans in the audience saying hello to the people on the ice.
Nice. And she was like in the bed. Right? You're so funny.
Still waiting for the score for the fourth end to be placed on the board for sheet D. It does appear as though blue is shooting points. They're shooting first, which tells me they did come up with a steal in that end. So it looks like their lead is extended. from 2 to anywhere from 2 to 10. I have a feeling they did not score 8 points though. I'm a little bit surprised that the championship match here is actually looking at the fastest pace of any other match on the ice right now. Here sheets A and B are still on the 4th end. Sheet D just began the 5th end. And we are about halfway through the 5th end here on sheet C. Rochester, being the gracious hosts that we are, have allowed 2 of our out-of-town teams to play in the championship match. Whereas every other match that is on the ice right now appears to be Rochester natives. So as I said, being the gracious hosts that we are, we decided to allow these 2 out-of-town teams the honor of playing for the championship match. Charlotte in a little bit of a predicament here. Maybe not so much. Pittsburgh does only seem to be sitting 1, and that stone is not very well protected. Trying to tuck it around this guard to get a takeout of their own. I'm curious what's going to happen with the shot rock. They do get the takeout. And the shot rock remains halfway inside the 12-foot. So it is currently the counting stone on the end. Pittsburgh Skip still trying to decide exactly what he's looking for out of his shot. While there aren't a number of stones in front of the house, it does seem as though a number of the angles have been taken away. He's going to try to promote his stone that's currently outside the 12-foot back into the house and use shot rock as a guard.
Good positive, good positive. Good positive.
Good speaking by the Pittsburgh team, allowed the stone delivered properly. Was it too heavy? Nope, it's going to stick around in the back of the 8-foot. Or in between the 4 and the 8, so let's call it the 6-foot in my own imaginary house markifications.
It's like you are watching your daddy. Yeah.
It's like, this is a lot of fun. You know, I thought we were outside. Everybody's like, we went outside and then they came back in.
The first of the skip stones are going to be thrown here by Charlotte. Except they're having to try to draw around the guard, maybe sit upon the blue stone. The properly executed freeze, they could be in a good position to score a couple of, score possibly 3 points here. Depending on the outcome of this next shot.
Stop the other team from playing cards. So, yeah.
There might be the abracadabra card used on this end. If that can come back around and sit properly, it looks like it's got the weight. Is it going to move? That thing just took a left-hand turn, ended up crashing the blue stone out of the house, and now red is sitting 2. However, both of their shot stones... Actually, I take that back. The blue stone did stick around in the back of the house. It's sitting on the 12-foot, which is camouflaged beautifully with the blue and the green. So right now, Charlotte does only sit 1. But as previously stated, their shot is rather exposed. Should be a relatively simple either takeout or sit here for Pittsburgh.
So, there's 8 stones for each team.
The score was posted in sheet D. The blue team ended up receiving a steal of 1 to extend their lead to 3 points and now lead at 6-3. 4 ends yet to play.
They don't show all the shots, so it seems like the same person always.
We're still waiting for the scores to be posted for the 4th end for sheet A and B. Both those teams appear to be a 1-point game. We'll see what the resulting score was from the 4th end.
No, the speakers are slightly special. It's like going to be big because it's more physical.
A little bit of, I'm sure, it's going to be a disappointing result for them. They do get the hit to knock out the shot stone from Charlotte. However, they were unable to keep their stone, the shooter, in the house.
Alright, they're going to play a card here. I don't know what the card is. We're going to find out.
These are the cards they play.
Yeah, it does look like Charlotte right now is going through their litany of cards to choose from, trying to select the proper one that'll give them the opportunity to either create a steal or limit what Pittsburgh can do. Still remaining for Charlotte, we have the Golden Hammer, which is once again the second Hammer Stone, which is a very important card. The Noonan card, which allows you to, in a gentlemanly manner, heckle your opponent as they're shooting their stone. We are a PC club, so there is nothing perverse that can be said. All right, looks like they just used the tick, actually, which removed one of the guards for Pittsburgh, moved it outside of the 4-foot, thereby opening up a very nice, clean, easy port for them to take out the shot stone for Pittsburgh. If this stone, the shot stone for Charlotte, does not stick around in the house, I would not be surprised if Pittsburgh once again tries to blank this end by merely chipping out the stone that is currently in the 12-foot by Charlotte, retaining the hammer, and once again surviving some of the cards that have been played against them. Looks like it's tracking well. It's starting to come over a little bit. Is the shot stone going to stick around? The shot stone does not stick around. So once again, let's see if Pittsburgh elects to. They're playing for the hit, which tells me that that is their intention. If they're trying to score points, it's a very easy draw to the house in either direction. So Pittsburgh once again trying to prove that defense wins championships here in curling. Pittsburgh's actually in a good position here because there are 3 possible results that could come from this shot. Either one, they could, in the worst case scenario, they would miss completely, give up the steal of 1 and retain the hammer after 5 ends, giving them the hammer on the 6th end and the all-important 8th end. They could knock the stone out and actually have their shot stone end up in the house, which in my opinion is the second desired result because that would give them 1 point, but obviously we want to have more than 1. Or the result could be the proper execution. They clear the red stone. Do not end up in the house. Blank the end. It looks like this stone's going to end up in the house. It is. You can see a little bit of disappointment on the skip for Pittsburgh. A bit of an aw shucks gesture there, knowing they scored 1 point when the option was, or the preferred outcome would have been to blank the end. He now appears to be beating the ice with a stick, showing a little bit of frustration out there. You can tell the stress is really starting to get to these young men and women. And still, much to my surprise, no broom stacking going on here for either of these teams. In fact, on sheet B, we do see a broom stack, a nice formation, tightly done.
Okay, the scoreboard is hard to do, so this hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the cumulative score.
3 ends of play. Pittsburgh does have a 2-point lead with a score of 3-1 here on the championship match in sheet C. For any of you fans out there listening at home, I do want to give a huge congratulations to the, or huge thank you, I should say, to the Calabrese for organizing this event. This was an absolute blast by everyone that attended. I saw a lot of smiles, a lot of joking around. People were just truly enjoying the tournament. That's one thing I do enjoy about curling is there is that competitiveness that we all want to win. We're all here to have fun. And no one is ever going to make this more than what it needs to be or make things uncomfortable for another opponent or another teammate.
That's yellow sheep.
And then this rock has to make it over this wall, or it doesn't count. Pull it out. Yeah, I mean, that's the area you can block in, is the area just past.
A couple of high guards here on sheet C to begin the end.
And you can actually put rocks there, first 4 rocks in the end, not be playing after that 5 bucks. So,
Got the appealing we're calling for the draw behind the center guard here. Sweepers are not yet touching this, and they're going to enjoy like the wait. Does need to slow down. It looks like this might have enough. Too much. We're going to go that. No, I take that back. That actually was fantastic wait. It is a little bit behind the T line, but is well protected by the guard. Fortunately, the second lead stone for Charlotte does appear to be drifting a bit too far. Did not have a lot of weight to begin with, but this is going to crash into their other guard, which actually might have a good result because they have 2 guards on the right side of the rink. Unfortunately, the one is sliding a bit too far over, and not too much that you can protect over there or take away as far as angles. Pittsburgh once again trying to draw behind their center guard. They want to have this one on the top of the house. On sheet A on the fourth end, looks like the blue team scored 2. The blue team being the model rink. To give them a 1-point lead, they now lead 3-2 over the Roach rink.
yeah, they should. Now, one of their cards should be to 11.
Sheet B, once the NFL says it's more important to brew sack and grab a couple of beverages and actually hang their score for the 4th one, so I'm still waiting to see what happens with that.
They're going to be doing funny things today. Things you've never seen really that he throw an extra stone or special things. Yeah,
This draw here appears to be curling nicely. Let's see if it has enough weight to get where it needs to be. It should be there. This appears to be a very well executed sit. If you could just get a couple more. One more foot would have been fantastic, but that is still not a bad shot whatsoever. And I just saw the Pittsburgh skip kick the stone. Oh. Okay, it was burned at some point, so instead of removing the stone from play, they merely chose to elect where they feel as though the stone would have ended up had it not been burned.
Yeah, and so something must have
Once again, this is a very gentlemanly play by Pittsburgh. Especially seeing how the distance that the stone was moved from where it ended up to where it currently sits indicates that the burn would have had a significant result on the true path of the stone. Pittsburgh appears to be a little bit narrow and it's going to crash the guard. Not the result they were looking for. They end up losing their guard as one stone crashes into the wall. The shot stone crashes into the wall. And now the guard that they had, which was protecting their 2 stones, has been pushed to the right-hand side of the ice. Certainly opening up some takeouts, possibly even a double here for Charlotte if they can execute this properly. In fact, they're not calling for that, though. They're actually calling to split the house. Drawn behind the guards that they have on the right-hand side. The Speeders jumped on that very early. The skipper's actually coming out as well, indicating that the stone is light. Doesn't appear to be moving. I don't think they were calling for a sit, but that might be very much what they end up with. So Pittsburgh now sitting 2. With the shot stone looking like it was protected with 2 backers. Pittsburgh now with a decision trying to peel one of the stones, have it roll in front of the shot stone from Charlotte.
He's been a little bit of a troublemaker. He's from North Carolina. He's being so funny this weekend. He's trying to get everybody to go. The first time you meet somebody, it's like you guys already know each other and you connect with the family.
On sheet D, it looks like the Benway rink is actually taking a little bit of a commanding lead here. For their second end with a steal. Looks like they stole 2 points this time. Make the score now 8-3, 5-point lead. With 3 ends to play. It's going to be interesting to see what Eaton still has hidden up their sleeves as far as making a comeback is concerned. I am not certain if they have played their card yet or not. Once again, every team does receive 1 free card per game. And then the team from Charlotte decided to save their money and buy every card available here for the finals. Sheet B is now back on the ice. Looks like everyone is feeling better after enjoying a libation or 2.
Well, you told me you will like that issue too. There it is. That's the skip one. Skip the gold medal on the team.
It's nice.
It's really heavy. Like way heavier than you would think.
I read that they get
Looks like a takeout here for Pittsburgh. Let's see if they can work this perfectly here. And do some okay, they'll remove the 1 stone. Charlotte still says it's a shot rock with 1.
But it's, actual value of it is, I think it's 600, like big value of it.
And once again, this could be a very good end for Charlotte to use either the Golden Hammer or the Abracadabra card.
Like, if you were to look, like, it must be something that I have to ask them.
German takeout shot. Wow, this actually probably is not a takeout. Not exactly sure what this is, but this might not even reach the hog line. The Speeders do carry it. And not only did it reach a hog line, it's actually approaching the house now. Once again, for all you newer curlers out there, you understand my difficulties in judging the weight. In fact, all weekend long, I was calling weight, and my skip might as well have just done the exact opposite of what I was saying. Pittsburgh does appear to be calling for the sit shot on the shot stone from Charlotte.
Most of my surgeries I couldn't play pretty much this year.
The number of stones remaining, that would be a very valuable shot to have right now.
community rise.
Stone's tracking nicely. Sweeper's not touching it for weight. Rebecca not having him touch her line. Now they're starting to get on the ice just a hair. The sculpt is perfectly past the stone. It should actually work out very nicely. Maybe not as nicely as I thought. From this angle, it's tough to tell who is a resulting shot stone here. Either blue or red.
Because the cards probably do. So you said it's taking 2 hours right
Still looking for the score for the fourth end off of sheet B.
Responsible too, so.
So right now, we're to end right now. Red is the one.
So Minds Wiser Than Mine are actually calling that right now red, being the Charlotte team, is currently the shot rock. But once again, it is a very small gap between the two. Looks like there's a card that's coming out right now.
Play it. Play it. Next stage.
Here's what card they are reaching for. Curious what they're pulling out here. Seems to be some discussion going on between the leads and the vices. It does appear the golden hammer card is the one that is in his hand right now. It's not something that's been played quite yet. So they are. So apparently they prematurely played the golden hammer. So I'm guessing they will be using this, but we're going to have a little bit of delay before we see that card in action, as the remaining 2 stones need to be thrown before that can be used. There might be a slight tactical error here by Pittsburgh. Or by Charlotte, I apologize. Yeah. Pittsburgh, now knowing that they have that, Charlotte has that card and intends to use it, it'll be interesting to see what the strategy is for what they choose to do with their last stone. Here's the time for assist. They need to be careful this shot does not overkill. They also need to be careful that the ice is slippery and that we do not fall while standing watching the stone come in. Looks like this one just nicked off the guard.
They may not want to play the golden hammer.
It is still in the house. I'll need to get a ruling from the judges as whether they can pull the card back or not after having already played it prematurely.
It should not be allowed until they can play it.
So it appears as though the judge is saying that the card can be pulled back at this point because it was played in an improper fashion. Once again, the judge's decision is final on all matters relating to this bond spiel and the cards that are being played. Thank you, Joe Calabrese, for allowing me to have my Jim Nance moment of the week. Hello, friends. Yes, welcome, friends, to an event like no other. Gloomy and dreary Rochester, here, located in upstate New York. where the temperatures in the ice house are actually warmer than it is outside currently in the middle of April.
Oh, they're playing eight. It's like 8 innings just for the soccer finals. It's really
Plenty of time and setup taken to prepare for this next shot by Pittsburgh. Once again, curious what their strategy is, knowing that the Golden Hammer could be used on this end. Right now, Charlotte's currently 6-1 with the hammer shot and possibly even a second hammer shot to This stone does appear to be a little bit light. I think they're trying to protect the house, but this might not have the desired outcome that they're looking for.
now they definitely won.
They do avoid disaster by not knocking the red stone into the house. Not that it might be disaster, it would be difficult to get the 3 blue stones out of the house. However, it is possible.
Red stone is they're using this special.
There does appear to be some confusion on the ice as to whether the Golden Hammer will be used or not. Over in Sheet A, the model rink appears to have stolen the 5th end with 2 points, extending their lead to 5-2 with 3 ends remaining.
They have come short, so what they wanted to accomplish the Rockets quickly.
And once again on Sheet B, the score for the 4th end is not quite visible. They are running a little bit behind the other remaining sheets due to the fact they chose the broom stack, which is highly encouraged in this type of format. Ooh. A disappointing skip stone by Eaton over on Sheet D. Opportunity to put them in a position to at least take a point, whereas right now, Team Benway appears to have a great opportunity to come up with a very large steal. The first hammer stone over in Sheet C appears to slide in. Looks like they're sitting 2 right now. They're debating whether they're going to use it. Yeah, they are going to use So the question I have right now is they going to try to double off the 2 stones on the left that Pittsburgh has in, then use the Abracadabra card to remove the remaining 3rd stone from Pittsburgh, which would then in turn give them, assuming the shot stone here 6 in the house, a score of 5 points on one end potentially if 2 cards are used properly here. Yeah, because then they can use the Abracadabra card. Get rid of the last stone, get 5 points off of this end.
The Abracadabra, I think, is with 3.
Oh, is it? Okay. I wish to retract my previous statement. I was informed by the judges that the Abracadabra card can only be used in the guard zone. It cannot be used to take a stone out of the house, which, in my opinion, greatly reduces the importance of that card.
Which I think is why it's only $1.
Stone's coming in. I don't know if it's going to end. We'll see where this sits. It's the red sits. Looks like they are sitting 3.
There you go. Now they have to leave.
There you go. Charlotte with a well-executed Golden Hammer scores 3 points, give them a 1-point lead with 2 ends remaining here in this championship match. It also means that Charlotte right now is down to 2 cards yet to play out of their set of 7. They still have the Noonan card, which allows them to heckle the opponent as they're shooting their stone, and the Abracadabra card, which can be used to remove a guard.
So that's why one of the reasons you're saying you want to try to end it. Because you don't want to lose the chance to pull back.
Tables have turned here.
A few times.
We have the hammer stone on D. Trying to get past, trying to either get a score a point or at least hold off a steal, but it looks like the Benway rink is able to grab another steal. The question is how many? Guaranteed one. I believe that's all it is, but no movement on the stones as of yet. It looks like there is a card that is going to be played here by the Benway rink. Oh, that is actually well used. It's a brush like a badass card, so they can move their stone to the length of one broom length, which they will then use to place basically on the button so they score the point as opposed to giving up the steal.
It's the same things we do. We just rock closer to the bottom.
That was a little bit of a, I'm not going to say a desperation play by Team Benway. I'm sorry, by Team Eaton, but it's something they needed to do in order to stay within this match. Giving up a steal here on the sixth end would have put them down by 6 with 2 ends to play. So we are now at a 4-point game with 2 ends remaining. Sheet B once again remaining veiled behind that curtain of secrecy. Oh, now I see it. We actually do have a score for that fourth end. It looks like the red team ended up scoring 2 points to give them a 5-2 lead.
This rock
Okay.
Pristine.
Yes. So Lindstrom rink with a... Actually, they have a 3-point lead. I apologize. The score is now 5-2 on sheet B. With Lindstrom rink with a 3-point lead with 4 ends to get to play. Here in front of the house on sheet C. A couple of guards. Charlotte attempting to peel. Looks like they're trying to peel their own stone. Possibly push that back into the shot stone for Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, it does not seem to have the desired result. Not a terrible outcome, though. It does open up the house. Pittsburgh now trying to split the house by putting one on the right-hand side of the ring, probably closer to the 8-foot.
Actually got rid of both things. We have domino.
Stone being drawn in by Pittsburgh in the attempt to split the house on the 8-foot line. It might just step out of the house. No, it does stick around as a biter on the back 12. It is protected by their guard. However, certainly it is susceptible to a number of other stones negating its presence. Special thanks does need to be given to the Charlotte rink for making sure that all of their players are fully clothed for this final event. Last time the 50-50, one of the opponents accidentally lost his pants and decided to shoot the 50-50 button shot in nothing but a thong. Appeal of the guard. Well done. Both stones are removed from play. Fortunately, the double was not available, but that is a lot of length between the two stones in order to make that happen. replace the guard that they previously had. Looks like this one actually might go into the house. Nicely done. Looks like it's squarely hiding the back stone. Pittsburgh currently sitting 3. Charlotte attempts to keep Pittsburgh from having a big end. With only 2 minutes to play. In a 1-point game, this still is anyone's match. Looks like the Wagner rink on B is attempting to score 2 points with their hammer shot, currently sitting 1. Kosdork and Curl. Fortunately, it crashes the guard. Looks like the Wagner rink will only end up with 1 stone, unless I'm seeing something incorrectly.
She was in nationals this past year. She might be 5th or 6th best team.
Sheet A, currently in a little bit of a hole, and needing to score some points here, trying to draw around on the right-hand side. Looks like the Amato rink has a shot very well protected in the center of the house. A little bit of action, a little bit of movement over here, and nothing truly changed at the end result of that shot. The Amato rink on A still sits as 1. Roach has improved to 2, but Amato is 3 and 4. Every single one of those stones is well protected by a number of guards in front of the house. Important shot for Charlotte here. It needs to pair the shot. It seems to be curling quite a ton. This means the whole design is going to be effective. It does. Maybe even a double if properly executed. The second stone does remain biting. However, Charlotte did a good job of negating some of the potential damage that could have been played against them. Again, trying to remove the current second stone, which is held by Charlotte. Trying to scope the large end. They've done a very nice job of putting 3 stones on 3 different parts of the house. However, that shot stone does curl close to the center, allowing Charlotte the opportunity for a double. Absolute hustle. It looks like Sheet B has actually posted the score for the 5th end before any of the stones had been previously thrown, which is a break from their normal pattern of behavior. Looks like Blue, which is the Wagner rink, ended up taking 1 point on that end. So we now have a score. I believe it is 5-3 with the Lindstrom rink on top. Interesting to see the outcome of the shot here by Charlotte. Executed could reduce once again the scoring possibilities for Pittsburgh. Does need to move. It's only going to move one of the 2 stones. Does give Pittsburgh shot rock, but it's so wide open you got to imagine that. It does give Charlotte shot rock, but you got to imagine that Pittsburgh will remove this stone with ease. When I use the phrase with ease, I'm obviously referring to curlers that are playing at this level. Someone new as myself would have great difficulty making this shot. have to think that Pittsburgh can manage to pull off 3 points on this end. It would put them in a very favorable position to win the overall match. Charlotte would have hammered down by 2 in the final end with 2 cards remaining. But as of thus far, Pittsburgh has been unfazed by everything that Charlotte has thrown at them.
Slide out there.
Certainly seems to be a number of stones in the house on sheet D. Currently looks like blue, which is the Eaton rink, is sitting 1, which could set them up for a potential steal. Both teams still have both of their skip stones yet to be thrown. Basically, she's been skipping and dancing on the ice at this point. A discussion certainly currently going on by Charlotte as they're formulating a game plan. I think they recognize the fact that this end could very well determine the match. The Wagner ring looks like they had checked out their games tonight. Had an unfortunate result for their last stone. So they attempted for a takeout, but instead ended up approaching the blue stone closer to the house, behind some protection. So the Wagner ring looks like they're in a decent position to potentially score a couple of points. There are a number of stones that you've got to be played. This is merely the 4th stone by the Wagner rink.
So this team.
Over in sheet D, I see 5 stones from the Benway rink that are sitting within the house. However, the 1 stone by Eaton appears to be the shot rock and does have some protection in front of it. Potential runbacks are there. I feel as though on sheet D I made a call incorrectly on the use of a card before when I mentioned it was a desperation play. But that is what you get when you have a rookie hour on the radio. And in my distraction on sheet D, it looks like I missed a shot or 2 on sheet C. Charlotte currently with their final skip stone. Currently sitting 1, but that is very exposed.
What, 13?
This very much could turn the event here. I was looking, Pittsburgh had the opportunity to score 3. With the Rockets near the top of Charlotte could force Pittsburgh to run, giving Charlotte the hammer for the final end. Trying to run their stone back. Looks like they're covered in the house. Unfortunately, they missed the... A lot of celebrating going on at the far end of the ink by both teams. High fives going around. Some flexing.
They use the style where the other teams Vice was yelling sweep from the sweep.
So apparently the card that was played that I was unaware of was the opposing team sweeps the stone for the other team, trying to, as greatly as they can, have a negative impact around the path of the stone. It looks like they were able to allow the takeout of the one stone, but they did prevent the double. So Pittsburgh right now is in a wonderful position. If they can remove the stone from Charlotte, allow theirs to stay in the house, they could have 3 points and give themselves a 2-point lead with 1 end remaining.
Yeah, Mommy. You can see Mommy at any time. Or you can never be. I will not keep you from your Mommy. Look at her there. Margot has a drink.
It looks like one of the members of the called on to the sheet B for the re-economy card. And it looks as though the Winston Ring chose incorrectly as far as which member should be shooting. Instead of a takeout, there was a peel that occurred. Smiles all around as always, though. It looks like action is about to resume on sheet C. And once in a while, shot well, I think it had a massive impact upon the outcome of this match. Pittsburgh does execute this properly. They should have 3 points, which would give them a 2-point lead going into the final end.
He's laughing. Mommy's laughing. You hear Mommy laughing? Mr. Jordan. Maybe he's funny for
Skip Stone coming down to Pittsburgh. The Noonan card is about to be played. Or was that just played? The Noonan card allowing them to heckle the opponent while they shoot. Unfortunately, did not seem to affect the shot. The takeout was properly executed. Looks like Pittsburgh did score 3 points, providing them with a 2-point lead going to the final end. Ready to go for the final end? All right. A little bonus broadcasting time. Looks like I am going to be with you throughout the conclusion of this match.
Is he sliding? You can stand up and look.
All right. On sheet D, Daddy is about to be sliding, according to his daughter. Daddy is currently sliding. Stone has been re-sliding.
What do you think, Fred? Let's see if Daddy's takeout works.
Daddy going for a takeout.
Still gave up a point.
Those are tracking. Oh.
They had them all in the front. We just
There is certainly a lot of action on A. There is on D, sheet D. It looks like the resulting outcome is
Or something, or whatever.
the Eaton Rink appears to have scored a point. They are going through a list of cards, it looks like. There might be something used here, possibly.
I could just get my wood late. Just a small present.
Leslie, you don't have to worry at all about her. She just finds an adult and goes and includes herself into a
Pittsburgh throws their first stone to the back of the house, but touching the back of the forefoot. Charlotte remaining disciplined, has used, they're elected to throw some more guards here.
Oh, there's no cups down there.
once again trying to just draw into the house, try to make it as difficult as possible for Charlotte to come up with 2 points. I take that back because it does appear to be a guard, possibly a biter. She sells him very nicely as a center guard. Nice and tight to the house, but not a biter.
I feel like all the moisture snapped right out of my body.
There does appear to be some broom sacking going on sheet A. Well, at least I see 2 brooms on the ice, and I do not see a single member on the ring, so something tells me they are enjoying a libation or 2 of their own. Once again, greatly encouraged in this type of format.
I know, I love that. Twice I had the card, or the card to me to, to throw the skip.
Pittsburgh looking for a way to score multiple points on this end.
I might throw.
Check that. Charlotte looking for a way to score multiple points on this end. They actually throw one that curls in between 2 guards and snuggles in very nicely behind a corner guard that they do have. It is not currently the shot stone, but at this point, Charlotte does need a few stones in the house to put the pressure on Pittsburgh. With another steal on sheet D, this time once again it was 1 point. The Eaton rink has kept the pressure on the Benway rink. They do trail by 3. Benway does have the hammer. But anything is possible. Pittsburgh looking for a peel of a guard, possibly a double. Doesn't look like they're going to get a double, but they do effectively peel a guard. Trying to keep Charlotte using as many stones as they have, or they can, to protect the shots that they do have.
You don't cook the meals.
Right.
Your child was a realist.
Instead of placing another guard, looks like Charlotte is attempting to draw. We're going to have 3 sweepers on the stone as they're trying to drag it as far as possible. It does look like it has enough weight to reach the house. Question is how exposed shall this stone be? Does curl in nicely to touch the 4-foot. Not sitting on the back stone, but and still somewhat exposed. We're putting Pittsburgh in a position where they still need to make the shots in order to keep Charlotte at arm's length away. On sheet B in the consolation match, the Lindstrom rink with a 2-point lead here in the 6th end does appear to be in a position with 2 stones left to play. Doesn't look like they're in the best position. The Wagner rink is currently sitting 2. We have a trifecta of stones all huddled together at the top of the house. Like Lindstrom is just going for the hard peel, trying to make a couple things happen. Actually, very effectively done. Moves the guard. Takes one of the number 2 stone from the Wagner rink, pushes it to the 8-foot. Lindstrom currently sits 2. Wagner does have 3 in the house. And it looks like each team still has 1 stone remaining. Well done by Pittsburgh on the take. They actually managed to replace or peel 2 guards. Or peel a guard. Take a shot stone from Charlotte. Take it outside of the house. Havers actually working with the guard for the stone they have in. This is not over for Charlotte, though. They are sitting shot stone with the hammer. Looks like they're going to try to protect their shot stone right now. Possibly save try to save that stone as long as they can and then draw in with the hammer for the tie, depending on how everything continues to play out. Sweeper jumping on his guard early, and now they're off. Looks like it should track around nicely. It might actually end up in the house, but brings over curl into a very nice line. Now it's actually traveling a little bit further than anticipated. Does knock their shot stone closer to the button, and they're now sitting like what appears to be 1 and 2. However, both of those stones are exposed, and I have seen this young man personally pull off a number of very impressive doubles in this tournament. A double here would give Pittsburgh a 2-stone lead. Charlotte would not have any stones in the house with only 3 stones to play. Once again, making it that much more challenging for Charlotte to come back in this match. Plenty heat with this takeout coming in. Unfortunately, it just skimmed the shot. Charlotte still continues to hit 2. And that could actually be a very key miss for the Pittsburgh team. I do believe Charlotte still has the Abracadabra card yet to be played, which is the removal of one of the guards. However, I do not anticipate many more guards being thrown in this end. If this does continue to a 9th end, that card could still be played. We are breaking up the blindfold. Looks like Chris Lee, for the second time in this tournament, will have to shoot a shot with a blindfold on. The last time he elected to choose the Pretty Little Princess blindfold. This time he is going with the reindeer blindfold.
Okay, that's what I think.
The previous blindfolded shot, unfortunately, was a little bit wide and actually crashed into the wall before it even reached the near hack line. It is difficult to have any sort of bearing when you do not have a blindfold on. Fortunately, he does not need to spin in a circle 15 times after putting the blindfold on. He will have his balance and his general orientation skills still with him. Oh, I take that back. Actually, Chris Lee is not the one with the mask on. Chris Lindstrom shall be shooting this shot. Let's see how he fares compared to what has happened or what happened the last time I saw this card played. It's actually a very big stone here. This is going to be a great call by the Ragnarok. Lindstrom with a decent looking shot. Even with the blindfold on, this might actually work. They do have to risk knocking their own stone out of play. Fortunately, they jammed on the black one. They do give up a steal of 1, which is acceptable. Allows them to have the hammer in the 7th end. Well done by the Wagner Inc., but instead of Lindstrom scoring 2 points there, they end up with a steal of 1 for a 3-point swing with the use of that 1 card. Charlotte ended up putting a 3rd stone inside of the 4-foot. This definitely has been a very entertaining back and forth match here once the points started finally coming up on the scoreboard.
Made sure the blindfolds were cute too. Like the reindeer blindfold.
I said the one that's
This is coming in. Pittsburgh does manage to eliminate one of the 2 shot stones by Charlotte.
That's how I know the audio is going to be and see. There's certain choice words coming out from the house.
It's actually coming down to it here in the final end. Charlotte still has 3 stones remaining. Looks like Pittsburgh has 2 remaining. Charlotte currently down by 2. 2 in the house. Looks like they do have a partial backer for one of their stones. The Eaton rank in the last end, down by 3 in need of a significant steal or deliberating about the number of cards they have remaining.
Keep going, ladies. Keep tired, ladies. Keep going.
Charlotte throwing the guard. Well done. Very well done as far as the line is concerned, making it difficult for the run back. Pittsburgh now debating hitting their shot stone or their stone that is sitting currently at what I call the 10-foot line. Trying to jam that back in the house, pop a couple things out there, and make it very challenging for Charlotte to score the 2 or 3 they need to tie or win this match. Certainly a bit of a conference going on over in Sheet D.
I wonder if this is their last shot. This might be their last shot. I'm not sure. No, they had 2 shots. They have this one. So, a lot of
also debate on Sheet C as far as what the proper shot would be. It does look like they're sticking with the plan to run their stone that is currently at the 10-foot back into the house, try to disrupt the action a little bit. They at least want to knock the stone that is on top of the 12-foot out. They would love to keep the stone they run back sitting in the house as the shot rock. And if things truly to go perfectly for you, I don't think there's an angle for that. They would like to remove both of the 2 stones by Charlotte, but once again, I do not see that as a likely possibility. Action was in Sheet D. Eaton rank looking to just place another stone in the house. When they need to steal 3, and they need as much as they can. Unfortunately, this one does sail through the house. Back to Sheet C. Pittsburgh lining for the run back. Hard sweep call by Rebecca Hender. Looks like this one might overcurl us a hair too much. I take that back. They do manage to displace 2 of the stones, however, they do not roll that far out. It looks like red is sitting 1 from my perspective. Could be 2 red. There's a blue stone, looks like it's very close to the 4-foot. Charlotte has a very good opportunity here to turn this match around.
No, this red isn't even on the.
So it's just.
Yeah, that one's not even touching. It's got a good distance.
Let's get Model Rink over in Sheet A currently with a 4-stone lead here in the 7th end. I do see 3 stones currently in the house for the road shrink, though. So Model looks like they need to be somewhat aggressive in trying to eliminate a large end for the road shrink, which can very much get them way back in this match. First skip stone for Charlotte. Sweepers jumping on right away. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. It doesn't look like this one has the velocity needed to do what's necessary. However, the wig actually opened up a port, which exposes both of the stones for Charlotte. One final stone for Pittsburgh yet to be played. By removing a stone, they could guarantee themselves at least a tie, which would force them to an extra end.
rest is probably
I rescind that comment. If they could pull off the 2, they would actually put themselves in a position for a draw to the button for the championship. I've been told by the judges I am rescinding a lot of comments. That is what happens when you have amateur hour on the microphone.
It was so cold out. We're all like huddled together trying to stay warm. He was in here waiting for me to bring him food.
If Pittsburgh can pull off a shot where they manage to double both stones, it would basically be game over. The last stone by Charlotte, certainly not what they were looking for, as it greatly exposed everything they had worked so hard this end to build up. There was the stones removed, put it back to freezing on it. We wouldn't freeze on their own, I don't know. Looks like there was a card played on D that even had the judges a little bewildered over here. Another stone magically appeared to be sitting right on the button. The final skip stone for here for Pittsburgh. Once again, they need to remove at least one stone. If they can pull off the double, it would end again. If they do remove one, currently sitting as a shot stone. Looks like it's very nicely protected or snug behind one of the guards. Pressure's on Charlotte here to actually pull off a very challenging shot. It's going to be difficult to see if they can have enough velocity on this front. I don't know if it's possible to.
No, they played it.
Abracadabra? No, they played the tech where they moved them. Abracadabra only allows them to remove the guard, right?
I mean, they're the guard. They move their own.
Oh.
I don't know if it says it's their opponent's card or not.
It's actually a bit of debate whether the Abracadabra card can be used to remove one of their own guards, which actually be a very wise play at this point. There it is.
It says opponent's.
Okay, apparently the Abracadabra card can only be used upon the opponent's stone. It does appear as though as I've actually reached the maximum number of allowed recensions. I am still allowed to make up words, though.
I love you guys' comments.
Here it comes. Comes down to the final skip stone, down by 2, currently sitting 1. Actually, they might not be sitting 1 at all. In fact, that might be Pittsburgh with the 1 stone, which means that Charlotte would need to remove that stone. Strack needs to come back over. Let's see if it has enough velocity and angle to perform the desired outcome. Looks like it is a bit wide, didn't curl enough. And with that, Pittsburgh is your 2018, the inaugural Curling the Gathering Tournament champion. They certainly had the opposite, the card stack, or the deck stacked against them, if you will. Only having 1 card to play on this final match as opposed to 7 by Charlotte. And as it is, they end up with 1. And each team has chosen to forego the traditional handshake and actually just straight hugging each other. A lot of love between these two teams here. This was worthy of a championship level match. Both teams playing extremely well, using great strategy as far as when to play their cards and how to use them to their best advantage. I do wish to offer congratulations to the Charlotte team. They played admirably the entire weekend long. I believe this was their first loss of the weekend. Certainly had fun and brought a lot of camaraderie to the event, which is welcome from some of the out-of-town teams.
And and they already know each other. So.
On sheet D, the Eaton rink appears to be making a bit of a run here, an attempt to tie this game. Then again, actually, I would like to rescind that as well. Looks like this is the final skip stone. A 3-point lead for the Benway rink. There is nothing they can do aside from knocking another stone in. They simply peel one of their own stones just to have fun with it, allowing the Eaton rink to score 2. However, there is a card being played right now. I'm not certain what they're going to be able to do here. Are they doing the prove it card? Trying to prove once again that they're not going to knock one of their own, the opposing team's stones into the house. Going to have a photo opportunity here in sheet A. Two teams certainly worthy of being champions. I see a lot of smiles out there. A lot of laughter. A lot of technology being used to take some pictures. Once again, which appears to, for the second time, be the final stone on sheet D here. Some smooches going on sheet C. A challenge to see what is happening on sheets A and B right now. There are a number of people gathered at the far end of the ice as both teams are, where both the sheets are completing their second end. Once again, Benway runs their own back, allows a steal at 2. 2 a 1-point victory. Final score appears to be 8-7, unless there is another card that could possibly be played. No, it does not look like that. We do have some handshakes going on, as we've seen the entire tournament long. A lot of smiling faces from both teams, win or lose.
Yesterday was pretty long. Yeah, yesterday was pretty long. Today it's not going to be so bad.
Go home by hopefully we have around 4 5 p.m.
Sheets B and C still seem to be having some deliberation going on. Or, sorry, sheets A and B having some deliberation going on.
People stuck around and yeah, right. No, that's how the club made their money on this big pile of bars. So they
appears though the Roach rink has their final skip shot here on sheet C. It is a little bit challenging to see where the stones currently lie there. It does look like they have the opportunity, if they can remove the lone blue stone in the house, to score 4 points, which would then take the score from 6-2 and actually tie it at 6-6. It could be a very huge shot for the Roach rink in their attempt to surmount a rather impressive comeback here on sheet A.
This is a landfall.
Dorothy Roach shoots her final skip stone. Not a lot of room to make this happen. The sweeper's not touching it. Apparently, like there they go. They finally drop their brooms, get on it. Attempting to run their stone back into blue. Oh, and unfortunately, they do not. They knock one of their own red stones out. It does appear as though blue ended up stealing a point there. Unless a card is played, that could be a very significant development. Nope. Actually, looking back, there were just a lot of people in the way. It does appear as though the Roach rink scored a point. But certainly looks like certainly they were hoping for more than just one. None of the stones have been removed from play yet, which leads me to believe that there might be a card that is being played right now. I do not see any more stones at this end of the rink. A little bit confused as far as what the discussion was about. Now they start moving the stones. It looks like there was a score of 1 red, so the force of 1. Looks like the Amato rink has a 3-point lead going to the final end with the hammer in a very fortuitous position for the victory. Back in Sheet B, the Wagner rink attempting to close a bit of a gap of their own. It's actually stolen last end, or what took a point in the 5th end, stole in the 6th end to make it a 1-point game.
Still see the edge of the ice of his bleeding. So
Looking to further narrow that gap, or if at all possible, possibly hold their force the Lindstrom rink to 1, which means they would be down by 2 going to the final end with the hammer. I don't believe there are any cards yet to be played on Sheet B.
It's too much like one really good shot. Really good. And then all of a sudden you throw a shot. So
Lindstrom rink now lining up for their final shot. Does look like Wagner is sitting 1 right now. There is a draw to the button available, or possibly even a chip and roll for the 1. I don't see too much of an opportunity for the Lindstrom rink to score 2 here. So unless things go not according to plan, it looks like we will have a 2-point game going to the final end. So Mr. Lindstrom can do here. And he might even be content to allow the Wagner rink to have the steal of 1, to tie the game up, to provide him with the hammer in the final end. He's trying to chip off a far stone, and roll does not appear to have the roll that he was looking for. I do believe the Wagner rink will have the steal of 1.
I think because they're close to the airport, they get it up.
So we now have a tie game going into the final end of the consolation game. The Lindstrom rink will retain the hammer after allowing the steal of 1. Over in Sheet A, the final end has begun. Once again, the Amato rink with a considerable advantage, up by 3. And the hammer. Both teams at this point throwing up some guards. Looks like we are going to attempt a run back. The Amato rink.
We shave the top layer off after it has been played on a few times. And shave down, and then we redo it. With an orange peel.
A number of very enjoyable games thus far here at Curling the Gathering. The 2 games that have been completed on Sheet A and Sheet B were both decided by 1 point. Both trailing teams on the final end are making a valiant comeback to attempt to change their fate. Unfortunately, neither team able to overcome the deficits that they faced. The Amato rink does run a stone back. Unfortunately, though, instead of going behind the guards, it does appear to slide to the right, leaving it very well exposed. Dorothy Roach now calling for the takeout shot, hoping to remove the stone and roll behind the litany of guards that are just to the left of the center line. At this point, there are only Rochester teams currently on the ice. As we wind down Curling the Gathering and we wind down the Rochester Curling Club season. Fortunately, the Roach rink flashes that takeout, leaving Amato with the 1 point. 3-point lead. Look at this, remove some of the guards that are in front of the house right now. Try to keep the house, the sheet as open as possible, and not give the Roach rink anything to hide behind. Sheet B, the Wagner rink, they have a extremely high guard to the right of the rink. And the Lindstrom rink decided to answer that by throwing one into the house. We're sitting right on the 12, or right on the tee line, touching the 4-foot to the left of the house, or to the left of the 4-foot, I should say.
All the cards didn't seem to make
Too much card thinking.
Yeah.
Bet you have no cards. It's over.
For any of you watching yesterday on Sheet, we actually had an extra card that was played. At the end of the match against Charlotte, the Rochester team decided to flood the house with 7 additional stones borrowed from other sheets. Unfortunately, the judges ruled that that was not acceptable. And as such, the Rochester team was unable to overcome the substantial deficit which they had dug themselves into. On Sheet E, the Amato attempt to crash some guards and free up some space unfortunately did not exactly work well, as there's still 3 guards remaining, each of which are basically the same distance from the house as each other, making it difficult to peel more than 1 or 2 of them at a time. Throatrink now trying to take advantage of that wall of guards, looking to draw one behind that wall. It does appear as though it has some weight. This might not stick around. Over on B, the Lindstrom rink does manage to remove the guard from the Wagner rink, replace it with one of their own while still retaining the 1 stone in the house. And I was correct on A. The draw behind the wall of guards, it was a hair heavy and ended up trailing out of the back of the house. Wagner rink at this point looks like they're attempting to draw behind the guard from the Lindstrom rink. Once again, we have a tie game in the final end here of the consolation game.
But it's worth it.
What is impressive about the Wagner rink is that there's at least one player I know that she took the Learn to Curl course earlier in the year. So we have a first-year player that is currently playing in the consolation game, the 3rd place game here at Curling the Gathering. A little bit of a hubbub here in the warm room as some of the teams that have recently come off the ice are starting to flood in here. Grab a couple of beverages as they celebrate the conclusion of what was a very enjoyable tournament.
Nice to see you.
Lindstrom currently sitting 2 stones in the house in a tie game over on Sheet B. Looking to throw up a guard, just protect what they currently have. Either team scores a point on this end, they do end up winning the match. Instead of a guard, it looks like the Lindstrom is actually thrown one into the house behind one of the Wagner guards.
Right, down low.
Schwartzrink does finally get that draw behind the wall. They were looking to sit on one of these stones from the Amato ring. Do tap it back a hair, but they are currently sitting the shot rock. Once again, they would need to steal 3 points here on this final end in order to force a draw to the button for the conclusion of this match. The Wagner ring looking to take out some of the stones that the Lindstrom currently has in the house. A double here could be very beneficial. It does look like they are going to get one. Unfortunately, the shot stone will not stick in the house. As such, Lindstrom still hits 2 in the house as the stone count for each team begins to dwindle. We do see we see a card being played over in Sheet A. It looks like they're going to be playing the Toe the Line card, which forces the Amato ring to throw their stone from the near hog line. I'm sorry, the far hog line. They are not allowed to slide. The shot is actually more challenging than it appears, especially when you have obstacles sitting in front of you. It does look like they've elected to throw the stone from the left side of the hog line instead of the center. You don't have to be on the center line when you throw it, though? Taking advantage of one of the little known nuances of the rule where you do not have to be lined up on the center line when you use that card. This might give them the angle that they need to remove the roach current shot stone. We have another card being played on sheet B. I'm not certain how many cards these teams ended up with. This is now the 4th card I've seen on this sheet. I see some discussion and some confused faces as far as they try to decipher the exact interpretation of this rule. All right, we have the toe of the line shot currently being played on sheet A. Once again, not that easy of an angle, but it is there. So sheet B, the Lindstrom rink.
When you're watching,
It appears to leave an extra stone that was just placed in the house.
What color are they playing?
So now the Lindstrom rink is actually sitting with 4 stones in the house, 2 of which are touching or inside of the 1 foot. 1 is touching the 4 foot, and 1 is touching the 8 foot. 3 of which are on the center line. The 4th stone is on the T line to the left of the 4 foot. All right, looks like we're finally about to see that toe of the line shot on sheet A.
So from the hog line, that pick line back towards the house you're playing with, yeah, each number is given a segment and segmented out. So it's actually given a zone.
All right, let's see what we have here.
It's zone 1.
So there we go. Looks like I can't tell if he's getting ready to shoot or not. Every time I want to say he's about to shoot that shot, he does not. Joe Amato is set down the broom. The shot is being played. Properly executed as they knock out the shot stone from the Dorothy rink, or the Roach rink, and replace it with one of their own. The weight in that stone is actually very challenging to get down properly. As accustomed as we all are to being able to deliver a stone from out of the hack with a slide, to do it from a standstill from a closer distance makes the precision very challenging. Some feedback from the crowd. Apparently I'm about to get a raise for all the commentating I've been doing here.
It's a great game. It's been an entertaining weekend all together, man.
I don't think we got the message about the 3rd inning.
All right, here we go. On sheet A, we have the Roach rink shot.
I was shocked that you didn't throw the peel on your own.
Looks like they only have 3 stones remaining, once again needing to steal 3. This stone does not reach the house, and it looks like it does not have the weight needed or the line necessary. We might see a handshake. Oh, it does sneak past the guards, slides in, is currently in the house. However, not. It's currently the 3rd shot on the ice. The Amato rink can remove this stone. That would, in essence, provide the crushing final blow towards the Roach rink. Sheet B, we have, looks like a vice shot. The Wagner rink was able to counter some of the stones which had been placed in the house by the Lindstrom rink by the use of one of their cards. Lindstrom currently sits 1 with the Wagner stone sitting frozen upon the 1st shot as a number 2. And then Lindstrom rink has the 3rd, 4th, and 5th stones in the house.
Make yourself sugared out. There's so much food everybody has to eat.
Stone from Mike Hoteling. Hutling is a little bit light. Doesn't look like it's going to reach the house. But once again, even the protection there would be okay because all they need to do is score 1 point.
Oh gosh. You got to in time. Was that?
Yeah. I'll be there. Not teaching, learning still, so you know. Coming down to it, looks like the Wagner has their first. Actually, I can't quite tell. Like, actually, that might be the. Cannot tell if that is the first or the last skip stone. Okay, never mind. That is actually the last stone by the Vice. It's got high center guard, possibly trying to protect what is there in the hope that they can run back that blue and punch out the red to allow blue to have the shot stone.
It got a little dicey there when you said there's only one bottle of red wine like that.
No, one bottle of that one particular one.
About the same right there.
The shot at the loose rink.
They don't call it the stopper too well.
Looks like it's pretty wide. This definitely needs to come back if it's going to
How does he get this?
form as needed.
Down over there.
Well, you
Not a lot of weight behind this. This might not even reach the house. It looks like it's actually going to stop pretty high, almost as a 1/2 guard. Interesting strategies being deployed by both teams here, knowing that 1 point shall win this match.
I thought you were drinking water.
It's really good, dude.
You guys don't want any ginger ale anymore now.
The Amato and the road train looks like they're going to play it out here. Amato's currently sitting with 2 points, a 3-point lead. Can't tell if the shot was designed to be thrown into the house or if they're actually trying to bring it down the right hand, or throw into the wall rather. So it looks like they're trying to bring down the right hand side, just draw it in. With the split of the house is going to make it very challenging for the roach rink. With one remaining stone
I've already warned him next time.
to pull off the steal of 3.
Yeah, they're gonna go. Oh, this team.
It
Charlie.
appears though the Amato rink is going to hold on for the victory over in Sheet A. Back to Sheet B, we have Chris Lee with the first of his skip stones. In a tie game. Currently 5 stones in the house, 5 stones out top, out in front, guarding the house.
But my business is to tell people to not sit like this in the
The sweepers are hitting that pretty hard. Doesn't look like there's a lot of weight to it. I have a feeling this is actually going to run into one of the guards. Which is not terrible. It does keep that line open to try to punch the blue stone into the red shot stone for a steal of a point. For your viewing pleasures, over on Sheet C, you can actually watch Mark Andrews pebble the ice in anticipation of prepping for the Lumber Curl class coming up now. For all you curling fans that like to watch a bunch of movies, do their best. We encourage you to stay tuned. Over in Sheet A, the final skip stone for Dorothy Roach has punched a few stones out of the house, but unfortunately it looks like the Amato rink is sitting 2 with only 1 stone to throw. It does look like they will throw that final stone, even though this game has been decided. Okay, they are going to make them play it out, and why not? This is a fun competition. And a chance to get to throw a stone or two. No, I take that back. There go the handshakes. Looks like we might have a trick shot coming out here. I see a number of different broom lines. It's going to be interesting to see which one he chooses, as 4 different members of the opposing team have their brooms calling for a shot. Over in Sheet B, Chris Lindstrom is attempting to throw up a guard to keep the other team from the punchback, which is what they're clearly trying to establish. It does end up a little bit wide to the left, leaving that line available. If Chris Lee can come in and manage to punch his blue stone into the red stone, shot stone, they could be sitting in a very strong position to steal 1 and come out of this match with the win after having what appeared to be a very large deficit. And the Amato rink with one final draw stone over on sheet A ends up doing a takeout of one of the red stones, allowing them to score 3 for a decisive 6-point victory. And once again, as we've seen all weekend long, a lot of smiles, a lot of laughing as people shake hands. Congratulations and condolences being passed around by all.
They're coming in soon.
All right, we're coming down to it. Looks like we have 2 stones remaining on sheet B for the Constellation Game Championship.
Greg, stop licking the microphone. Stop licking the microphone.
Dallas and Houston.
Okay, and on that note,
Greg, behave.
which part?
Are you talking about the microphone?
Final shot coming down for Chris J. He does need to perform this hit properly. The line's tracking well. I think he passes guards. Oh, which he does not. It crashes. It's a Linson rink. With the shot they currently have, a 1-point lead, and only their stones left to play. Except they decided to conclude the game here. We have some handshakes going around. Another game that came right down to the final shot. 3 of the 4 championship games ended up as a 1-point game with a number of significant comebacks taking place during each of the matches. So none of these games were really over until it was over. And with that, it looks like we are actually going to call this the conclusion of Curling the Gathering. Once again, I'd like to send a heartfelt and sincere thank you to Joe Calabrese, his wife Elise, the Rochester Curling Club, Domino's Pizza, Emile Subs, Le Petit Poutine Food Truck, and everyone else who took a hand as far as the volunteers for the ice crew, the warm room, the officiating, everything that took place during this tournament. This certainly was a fantastic way to end the year. And with that, we bid you adieu.